This video is about famous Hollywood celebrities and people who passed away in 1980 in the United States. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. David Jansen. He was born in March 1931 and he died in February 1980. His age was 48 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. David Jansen was a beloved television actor best known for his starring role in the classic series The Fugitive. Gail Robbins. She was born in May 1921 and she died in February 1980. Her age was 58 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was lung cancer. Gail Robbins was a mid-century film actress and singer known for her roles in musicals and B-movies during Hollywood's golden age. Alfred Hitchcock. He was born in August 1899 and he died in April 1980. His age was 80 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was kidney failure. Alfred Hitchcock was a master of suspense and one of cinema's most influential directors, famed for his psychological thrillers and pioneering techniques. Lillian Roth. She was born in December 1910 and she died in May 1980. Her age was 69 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was stroke. Lillian Roth was a stage and screen star whose candid memoir about addiction, I'll Cry Tomorrow, became a cultural touchstone in the 1950s. George Tobias. He was born in July 1901 and he died in February 1980. His age was 78 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was bladder cancer. George Tobias was a character actor best known for his comedic role as Abner Kravitz on the classic sitcom Bewitched. J. Silverhills. He was born in May 1912 and he died in March 1980. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was stroke complications. J. Silverhills was a Mohawk actor famed for portraying Tonto in The Lone Ranger, becoming one of the first Native Americans to break into mainstream Hollywood. Jessica Dragonette. She was born in February 1900 and she died in March 1980. Her age was 80 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was heart attack. Jessica Dragonette was a radio soprano icon of the 1930s, known for popularizing operatic and semi-classical music over the airwaves. David Sharp. He was born in February 1910 and he died in March 1980. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was Parkinson's disease. David Sharp was a prominent Hollywood stuntman and actor known for his athleticism and work in serial films and westerns. Red Sovin. He was born in July 1917 and he died in April 1980. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was car accident because of a heart attack. Red Sovin was a country music artist best known for his spoken word, truck driving songs that resonated with working class America. Raymond Bailey. He was born in May 1904 and he died in April 1980. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Raymond Bailey was a stage and screen actor, widely recognized for his role as a banker in the Beverly Hillbillies. Marshall Reed. He was born in May 1917 and he died in April 1980. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Marshall Reed was a prolific actor in B-movie westerns and action serials, often playing rugged characters or villains. Charles Seal. He was born in April 1897 and he died in April 1980. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Charles Seal was a television and film actor best remembered for supporting roles in 1950s and 60s television series. Henry Leaven, he was born in June 1909 and he died in May 1980. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Henry Leaven was a prolific Hollywood director, known for a range of adventure and romantic films spanning from the 1940s to 1970s. George Pell, he was born in February 1908 and he died in May 1980. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. George Pell was a trailblazing science fiction producer and director, celebrated for bringing imaginative stories to life with special effects. Carl Rael, he was born in June 1942 and he died in May 1980. His age was 37 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was kidney failure. Carl Rael was a skilled bass guitarist, best known for his work with Eric Clapton and Derek and the Dominos on the classic album Lila and other assorted love songs. Jerry Fielding, he was born in June 1922 and he died in February 1980. His age was 57 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Jerry Fielding was a distinguished film composer, known for intense dynamic scores in movies like The Wild Bunch and Straw Dogs. He was a three-time Oscar nominee for Best Original Score and an Emmy Award winner. William Howard Stein, he was born in June 1911 and he died in February 1980. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart failure. William H. Stein was a Nobel Prize-winning biochemist known for his pioneering work on ribonuclease and protein structure, crucial to understanding enzymes. Robert Hayden, he was born in August 1913 and he died in February 1980. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart disease. Robert Hayden was a celebrated American poet and the first African American to be appointed as United States Poet Laureate. His work explored Black history and identity. Charles Miller, he was born in June 1939 and he died in June 1980. His age was 41 at the time of his death, and he was stabbed to death in Los Angeles during a street robbery. Charles Miller was an American musician best known as a saxophonist and flautist for the multicultural California funk band War. Notably, Miller provided lead vocals as well as sax on the band's Billboard R&B #1 hit, Lowrider, in 1975. Richard Bonelli, he was born in February 1889 and he died in June 1980. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Richard Bonelli was a distinguished American baritone who graced opera stages across Europe and the United States, especially known for his work with the Met Opera. Albert Cotton, he was born in August 1907 and he died in February 1980. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was lung cancer. Albert Cotton was a member of the New York School of Abstract Expressionists, whose work helped define post-war American art. Isidora Bennett, she was born in July 1900 and she died in February 1980. Her age was 79 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Isidora Bennett was a major publicist in the American dance world who promoted modern dance and elevated its public presence. Muriel Druiza, She was born in December 1913 and she died in February 1980. Her age was 66 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was stroke. Muriel Druiza was a socially engaged American poet and activist, celebrated for her passionate verse and commitment to justice. Mike Winro, he was born in March 1902 and he died in February 1980. His age was 77 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Mike McCroney was a prominent United States Senator from Oklahoma, known for contributions to aviation policy and consumer protection. Joseph Banks Ryan, he was born in September 1895 and he died in February 1980. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. J.B. Ryan was a founder of parapsychology who popularized the scientific study of extrasensory perception and psychic phenomena. Alice Roosevelt Longworth, she was born in February 1884 and she died in February 1980. Her age was 96 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was pneumonia. Alice Roosevelt Longworth was a sharp-witted, politically influential daughter of President Theodore Roosevelt, who remained a force in Washington for decades. Gil Algarin, he was born in March 1914 and he died in February 1980. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Gil Algarin was one of America's most famous pin-up artists, whose glamorous illustrations defined mid-century pop culture beauty. Herman Tarnau, he was born in March 1910 and he died in March 1980. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was gunshot homicide. Dr. Herman Tarnau was a prominent cardiologist and diet book author whose high-profile murder case drew national attention. Maud Hart Lovelace, she was born in April 1892 and she died in March 1980. Her age was 87 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Maud Hart Lovelace was an American author beloved for Betsy Tacy books, a cherished children's series based on her own childhood. Peter Stoner, he was born in June 1888 and he died in March 1980. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Peter Stoner was a mathematician whose statistical studies on biblical prophecy influenced Christian apologetics in the mid-20th century. James Wright, he was born in December 1927 and he died in March 1980. His age was 52 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. James Wright was a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet known for his deeply emotional, imagistic verse grounded in Midwestern American life. Milton H Emerson, he was born in December 1901 and he died in March 1980. His age was 78 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was polio complications. Milton H Emerson was a renowned psychiatrist whose innovative work in medical hypnosis revolutionized modern psychotherapy. Jesse Owens, he was born in September 1913 and he died in March 1980. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was lung cancer. Jesse Owens was an iconic American Olympian who won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, challenging Nazi ideology on a world stage. Stanley Foreman Reed, he was born in December 1884 and he died in April 1980. His age was 95 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Stanley F. Reed was a United States Supreme Court justice known for his moderate stance and critical rulings on civil liberties and New Deal legislations. Antonio Capaniker. He was born in January 1912 and he died in April 1980. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was murder. Antonio Tony Bananas Capaniker was a high-ranking member of Philadelphia mob whose assassination became a turning point in mafia history. Katherine K Davis. She was born in June 1892 and she died in April 1980. Her age was 82 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Katherine K. Davis was an American composer and music educator, most famous for writing the beloved Christmas carol, The Little Drummer Boy. Thomas GW Salo. He was born in November 1895 and he died in April 1980. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Thomas G.W. Salo was a pioneering aviator and United States Navy officer known for setting high-altitude balloon flight records in the 1930s. Rube Marquardt. He was born in October 1886 and he died in June 1980. His age was 93 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Rube Marquardt was a major league pitcher and Hall of Famer famed for his early 20th century pitching streaks and World Series appearances. Arthur Nelson. He was born in September 1897 and he died in June 1980. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Arthur Nelson was an American businessman, electrical engineer, and market research analyst who created and tracked the Nielsen ratings for television as founder of the A.C. Nielsen Company. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.